The great media illusion and the real Tehran. When American news channels talk about Iran, what do they show you? A dry desert with a yellow Hollywood filter, angry politicians shouting, and the country completely crushed by the heaviest economic sanctions in human history. Yeah, about that. Let me introduce you to a little phenomenon called the rich kids of Tehran. While the media paints a picture of the Stone Age, there is a secret class of Iranian Gen Z living like absolute royalty. Here is a mind-blowing stat for you. Back in 2015, before new import bans hit, Porsche sold more luxury cars in Tehran than in any other city in the Middle East. Take that, Dubai. And wealth isn't just cars. Iran has the highest rate of nose jobs per capita in the world. It's such a massive status symbol that people literally wear the surgical bandages in public like a Gucci belt, even if they didn't actually have the surgery. But wait, the math ain't mathin'. The US banned Iranian banks from the global SWIFT system. Their currency, the rial, is collapsing. Foreign companies aren't legally allowed to sell them a pair of socks. So how are they buying Louis Vuitton bags? How did isolation create some of the richest young people on earth? Buckle up, because we are about to expose the 3 craziest loopholes in the Iranian economy. Chapter 1. The Agazadeh, the Army of Nepotism. Welcome to Chapter 1, the Agazadeh. In Persian, it officially means noble born. But on the streets of Tehran, it basically translates to, my dad makes the laws, so I get to break them. So how do they get so rich so fast? It's not just basic smuggling, guys. They found the literal infinite money glitch inside the government. To help poor people buy food during the sanctions, the Iranian government offers a super subsidized, dirt cheap US dollar exchange rate. Just look at these numbers. The official rate used to be 42,000 rials for $1, but the street-level black market rate? Over 500,000 rials. You smell the profit yet? These rich kids use their connections to buy those cheap government dollars, thinking they're going to import essential medicine for hospitals. But oops, when the cargo ships arrive, instead of ventilators and antibiotics, the shipping containers are stuffed with brand new iPhones and Maserati sports cars. By flipping those luxury goods on the black market, they literally multiply their wealth by 10 times overnight for doing absolutely nothing. But wait, how do they actually pay Porsche when Iranian banks are banned from the SWIFT system? Allow me to introduce Dubai shell companies. They use an ancient underground money transfer network called Hawala. It's basically a massive web of cash brokers moving millions of dollars across the Persian Gulf without leaving a single line of computer code. The US Treasury is completely blind. And since the government banned the import of luxury cars back in 2018, the ones already in Tehran became priceless. A beaten-up used BMW in Tehran can cost 3 times more than a brand new one in Los Angeles. But smuggling cars is old-school wealth. The Gen Z kids in Iran have a much more modern weapon. Chapter 2. The Bitcoin gold mine in the desert. Put yourself in the shoes of a 22-year-old kid in Iran. You want to play a game on Steam or pay for an online course, but your Visa and MasterCard, they're just useless pieces of plastic. Add to that an inflation rate of 40 to 50%. Your savings are evaporating faster than a puddle in the Sahara. So what do the brilliant math genius kids in Iran do? They turn to crypto. Cryptocurrency doesn't care if you're in New York or Tehran. No central bank on earth can freeze it. But to get Bitcoin, you have to mine it. And that takes an insane amount of electricity. Luckily for them, Iran has the ultimate cheat code. Listen up, Americans crying over your utility bills. Thanks to heavy government subsidies on fossil fuels, 1 kilowatt hour of electricity in Iran cost about half a cent. That is literally 40 times cheaper than California. Electricity was already dirt cheap, but these kids wanted it cheaper. Do you know where in Iran you get 100% free electricity? 2, 1. Mosques. That's right. People were literally sneaking Bitcoin mining rigs and hiding them inside sacred places of worship. The result? At one point, Iran accounted for a massive 4.5% of the entire world's Bitcoin mining. They were essentially exporting their sanctioned oil to the world in the form of digital code, the greatest loophole of all time. And of course, every party has a hangover. The mining rigs sucked up so much juice that the power grid in Tehran started collapsing. Imagine you're in the middle of a FIFA match and boom! Blackout, just because your neighbor is busy mining Dogecoin. But fake internet money is just the beginning. Chapter 3. The Copycat Empire, the rival-free Silicon Valley. Welcome to Chapter 3, Silicon Valley minus the sanctions. Imagine you're a brilliant Gen Z software engineer in Iran. You want to build a tech empire, but Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk are literally banned by the US government from entering your country. Now, this isn't a disaster. This is the ultimate monopoly, zero foreign competition. A market of 88 million people with an 80% smartphone adoption rate is all yours. All you gotta do is hit Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, and slap a Farsi label on it. Take Digicala, for example. It was started in 2006 by twin brothers who just wanted to buy a digital camera in Tehran but couldn't find a reliable seller. Today, they are the undisputed kings of Persian e-commerce, holding over 90% of the domestic market. Jeff Bezos is probably punching the air right now. No Uber? They built Snap, doing millions of rides a day across hundreds of cities. No YouTube? Meet Apparat, a video platform handling billions of views a year. The user interface might look suspiciously familiar, but the language is 100% Persian. But here's the real big brain move. The secret isn't just cloning the app. You know what the West is terrible at copying? Language and culture. Farsi is a right-to-left language. Western apps notoriously suck at this kind of localization, but the Iranian tech kids, they mastered it. No Visa cards? These Gen Z nerds built their own domestic payment system integrated with USSD codes. You can pay for your taxi or buy stuff on Digicala with typing a few numbers on a dusty old flip phone without ever touching the SWIFT network. A massive slap in the face to financial sanctions. And you know what the most hilarious paradox is? This total isolation created a perfectly protected incubator for these Gen Z geniuses. Sanctions didn't crush their tech economy, they crushed the foreign competition. Task failed successfully. No foreign currency, no globalization, no SWIFT. Yet thousands of Iranian engineers are swimming in billions of domestic dollars right in their own backyard. It is the most successful underground Silicon Valley on Earth. But wait, is this wealth actually trickling down to regular people? Now, before we get too carried away praising these Iranian copycat empires, we have to hit the pause button and give credit where credit is absolutely due. Because you can copy the software, but you can't copy the foundation. Sure, Snap is a brilliant Uber clone, but how does that taxi know exactly where it is in the chaotic streets of Tehran? Oh right, GPS, a system literally invented and maintained by the United States Department of Defense. And those servers hosting Iranian apps? Powered by micro-American chips. America isn't just a country, it's the research and development department for the entire human race. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and the wizards in Silicon Valley didn't just build companies, they wrote the operating system for modern human civilization. And this brings us to the ultimate irony: American soft power. The politicians in Tehran might shout "down with America" on state TV, but behind closed doors, their kids are literal VPN ninjas, binge-watching Netflix, debating Marvel movies, and flexing limited edition Nike Jordans. But the biggest American flex isn't the iPhone, it's the venture capital ecosystem. In Silicon Valley, if a college dropout builds a better mousetrap, investors on Sand Hill Road will throw millions at them based purely on merit. In Tehran, if your startup gets too big and you don't have the right political connections, a shadowy government entity might just acquire it. Want the ultimate proof of who really won? Look at where the elites send their kids. They don't send the Agazade to study in Russia or Beijing. They are fighting tooth and nail for F1 student visas to Stanford, MIT, and Harvard. They shout against the American dream, but they spend millions trying to buy it. The slap of reality. All right, before you pack your bags, buy a one-way ticket to Tehran, and try to launch a knockoff version of Tinder, let's deal a heavy dose of reality. For every Agazade popping champagne on Instagram, there are thousands of normal, brilliant young Iranians dealing with an inflation rate hovering around 40 to 50%. The average monthly minimum wage is roughly $150. You essentially need a literal wheelbarrow full of rials just to buy a carton of eggs and some pistachios. The sanctions didn't make the country rich, they made the wealth gap aggressively, painfully wide. And if you have a master's degree but no political connections, you join the brain drain express. Iran has one of the highest brain drain rates in the entire world. They're exporting doctors, engineers, and scientists to Canada and the US faster than they export oil. It's incredibly ironic. It's like Iran is saying, "Congratulations, America, you sanctioned us. So in revenge, we are going to send all our smartest kids to build your tech companies in Silicon Valley." So did the sanctions work? They didn't break the country, but they acted like a giant financial meat grinder. They completely wiped out the middle class while creating a bulletproof, insulated playground for the top 1% who hold the keys to the back door. The walls might keep foreign companies out, but they also lock the money inside for the few who know how to play the game. Hit that subscribe button if you want more mind-blowing economics, and tell me in the comments, do economic sanctions actually work, or do they just make the rich richer? See you next time.